All right, we're live. Coaches, what's going on? It's Coach Ian Tatum here, back with Coach Rapident. This is on episode number 17 of the Counterculture Podcast. And tonight we are joined by a special guest, Coach CAIN, who's the offensive line coach at Barton College here in North Carolina. Appreciate you, Coach, for joining and hanging out with us tonight.
No problem. Appreciate you guys having me. Been excited to get on the pod. Seen a couple episodes, listened to a couple of them on the road. So, you guys are doing some good stuff, and I'm just excited to be a part of it.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Rap, what's going on, brother?
We're making it into week 2 of summer ball over here. Last week was pretty good. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday we go right now. Today was a little interesting. Really good with the varsity guys. I've told our kids this, our quarterbacks, but first of all, let me go back. I'm an offensive line coach that's coaching quarterback, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. But, they just trying to get them along has been a little bit tougher. I keep having to remind myself that, the kid that we have that's the varsity starter was similar. I came halfway through the year, his sophomore year. So we ate lunch together every day for the rest of the school year to kind of go through everything. And I haven't had the opportunity, obviously, with us only being 4 days in, to do that with the JV guys. So, keeps it interesting. But other than that, man, summer's been good so far. Numbers have been really good. That's always exciting. Got a lot of JV guys out there, but, just trying to enjoy it. Spending a lot of time on the mower, which is what I prefer. So, but yeah, it's been great. What about you, Coach? How's everything?
Like I said, just trying to get out there. Our first day is Thursday, so we got there, hit Thursday, Friday, and then hit a whole fresh week. Kind of just worrying about us, trying to get kids in shape and trying to get stronger through the summer and do our install again. Excited to see what freshmen can come out. That'll be really exciting because you never know, right? And you get commitments, verbal commitments, and the kids like, yeah, I'll be there, and yeah, and they never do. So that's always a up in the air type of deal. So that's super scary. So it is what it is. But Coach CAIN, and we can kind of get into this a little bit because Coach Rapp, I don't know if you know, but Coach CAIN is not only just a coach; he's still a player. So.
Really?
Yeah, Coach, talk about what you've been doing this summer. Well, the spring into the summer.
Yeah, so couple years or since I graduated college back in 2018, I played for 2 years, played some arena football, and then COVID shut everything down. Got a couple years off, chasing my college opportunities. Then last year and this year, just worked out, been playing for a team in Greensboro.
Awesome.
It's been fun. Some of the stuff is cool. It allows me to connect with my players a little bit more because, I sit there and say, well, dang, I asked them to do this. I better be able to do it. And it definitely changes my perception on things because it, if it is that tough to do where I can't do it or people around me that are at a higher level can't do it, then, maybe I shouldn't necessarily harp on my guys to do it. So, we just finished our season, a little rough stretch to finish the year, but, it is what it is. So now it's, just focusing, getting ready for fall camp and, moving forward with that. It's kind of funny listening to you guys talk about, prepping for your guys' season and the freshmen and things. It's the same thing for us. We got, including transfers, I think we have 49 guys coming in this fall.
Wow.
Like I said, a couple of those guys were mid-year, things like that. But, same thing. We have to replace a All-American, multi-time All-Conference running back that, went to mini camp with the Titans and now is with the BC Lions and, got signed to their practice squad, I think, last week. So we're very proud of him. And then we have to replace a receiver that is down in Tampa Bay and, getting a lot of love down there, doing a really good job. And, get a lot of high praise from coaches and players, and he has a chance. Dynamic guy. So we have to replace those two guys, and we got some talented freshmen coming in up front. We're probably the oldest that we've been since I've been here. I'll have 4 seniors and a true junior as my starting 5. 4 redshirt seniors and a true junior. So, they got a lot of youth behind them, a lot of guys that haven't played a lot. Got some really good freshmen coming in. Probably, I wasn't here before, but this is definitely the best freshman class that's came in since I've been here up front. The class that came in the year before I got here, with all these seniors now, really good class. But I got a lot of big guys in this class, a couple 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" guys. So it's always nice to have a couple of those. But same thing, can they adjust to the college game? Can they adjust to the speed, the strength? Because you never know. I mean, they might be working out hard at their high school, but it's a different level when you get up here. Just like moving from JV to varsity, like it's just the transition from one level to another. You don't know if they're ready till they're ready.
Right.
No doubt. All right, real quick, Coach Shelton checking in with us. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you for hanging out with us. Make sure you like and retweet the stream while we're getting rolling. If you are hanging out with us, go ahead and drop where you are, who you coach, where you coach, stuff like that. Coach, I want to kind of throw you in the fire real quick. You'll be getting into it real soon. It's crazy and how fast this offseason is gone. But kind of talking about run game. Talk about kind of what's your day one install. What is Barton going to hang their hat on in the run game? And then we can talk about ours as well, Rat. But Coach King, we'll talk about what do y'all do well.
Well, so for the last 2 years I've been here, and the 2 years before that, wide zone was always day one install. It's still a play that we believe in, but we have some different personnel. Our running back had gotten so he came in that 2019 original class, practice wide zone, COVID, practice wide zone, practice. So by the time he actually played in games in 2021, he had banked so many practice reps at wide zone. And Jordan was an amazing running back here. He's going to do amazing things in his professional career, but he was the type of guy that he got better with reps. So, a lot of our tailbacks are younger. We're going to come into camp with, I think, one tailback that's a redshirt sophomore. Everyone else is either a true freshman or redshirt freshman. All super talented football players. But they just don't have the amount of reps that Jordan had. So, throughout spring ball, we really started looking, what can our personnel do well? My center that I had the last 2 years, 2-time all-conference guy, he could reach a 3 technique if we needed to. He was just a special player.
It's a good deal.
So, the guy we got now, still very talented player, but he's a little bit bigger. He can, hold his own a little bit more. We could ask him to do some back blocks, and he's just a different style player than the guy we had. So, day one install this year might be a little different. We had a lot of success this spring with some of our gap scheme stuff. Getting some power, some counter, mixing in some different things like that. Inside zone, different things like that. So day one install probably, going to be some inside zone, which I feel like everybody in America runs some version of inside zone, mid zone, wide zone, whatever you want to call it. It's all semantics when you really break it down. But probably be some inside zone, some of our base tags, like everyone else is running, some split zones, some insert, different things like that. So we'll work on that, and then we'll transition. We'll have our wide zone, we'll have our gap schemes, our couple wrinkles that we're keeping in the back pocket for people, especially when we hit conference play.
Yeah. Before I hit up wrap, I'm circle back to this after he answers, but I'm as a gap scheming guy, I want to kind of pick your brain, just some generic things about how you teach your inside zone because everybody does it differently. Whether it's a count system, covered, uncovered, stuff like that. So I want to figure out how you do it, just kind of. And yeah, you have to teach me like we're sitting in the meeting room, but just kind of talk about that in a few minutes. But Rap, day one install. I know you've already been going through your install, so this is week 2. Are you going back through it? Or are you kind of
day one has lasted 4 days now. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that bad. Yeah, inside zones are day one.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because the way we teach our pass protection, it kind of winds up being so our base is half slide, but the way we teach it on the play side kind of is similar to how we run inside zone. So it makes it so that way when we're putting our base pass protection in, hopefully the kids start to say like, oh, this is just like inside zone. So that's the original thought process behind why we do that day one.
Yeah, we're power counter all day, baby. But it's what we're good at. I mean, my right side, like my right tackle, right guard is that deuce block on gap scheme is one of the best I've coached, and so yeah, that's gonna be our deal, right? And so, and obviously we know play side of power and counter is the same thing. So we feel like we can steal days because it's really the backside which you have to work on, whether you're skipping or trapping.
Right.
So gap down backer, and that's day one thing. We're working that all day in Indy, pretty much. So that's what we're rolling with. And then obviously, like I said, tags come on later on once you get comfortable. But Coach CAIN, talk about how you teach it. Are you a covered uncovered? Are you a count system? How are you teaching those guys? And what are they comfortable with?
So I really try to simplify everything. If you guys ever come to a practice, like I am a firm believer in simplifying football. Like you'll hear me say, if we have a 3-backer box, I don't care about the 3rd backer. If he makes the play, good for him. If he doesn't, he's got to get yelled at by coach. So like, I'm just very much, if it's in your gap, you're handling your gap. As far as when we're working the linebackers, doing things like that, our combos can vary. So, we use different combos for front side, back side, just like most people. But, I don't use like a one size fits all kind of blocking scheme. So, just because you have a shade to the front side and a 30 backer doesn't mean we're going to block it the same way as if we have a 2-eye and a 10 backer.
Right.
Everything is a free flowing system. So I give my guys a lot of freedom to make the call that they feel works. As long as it's within the scope of what we do, they have the freedom to, because at the end of the day, the last thing I want to do is put them in a box. I don't want them, well, coach, you said I have to do this. No, we're going to play like athletes. We're going to think on the fly. So we have different calls off different things. If you give us a 3 to the front side of inside zone, we're going to play that different than if you give us a shade or a 2-eye. If you give us a true shade and a 30 backer, we're going to play that different than if you give us a 2-eye and a 40 backer. So, we try to give you different looks while still running the same play. The footwork stays universal. If you're a front side working a front side combo, you're, say we're running inside zone to the left and you're the left guard working with the center. Left guard, I know my hands are flipped on the screen, but it's going to be pick it up, put it down, a little rock step, check step, whatever you want to call it. And then we're attacking vertical. Okay. We're really trying to lift that front side shoulder pad. As the center, he's going opposite footwork. He's right foot, pick it up, put it down, left foot attack. Okay. And I got taught that in college, and it didn't make sense to me at first. But my offensive line coach, Coach Henson, used to explain to me all the time, that rocker step is just to prevent you falling behind on a crossface.
Yeah.
So we work that footwork. Our thought process is vertical combos. Okay. And we changed that once again. So we have 3 different combos that we use. We either have a vertical combo, which I have a 2-eye and a 20 backer. So we're just working old school vertical fit, hip to hip. All right, whoever falls off on the linebacker falls off on. Then we have horizontal combos. Okay, so now we're working 2-eye to a 30 backer. So now as that left guard, I'm opening my check step and I'm slightly turning my hips. Still same thing, lifting the shoulder pad. Now center, you can be more aggressive with that second step. Now you're really trying to run through the hip to get to that second level. Okay, then we have what we call a cross, okay, which is predominantly using its odd fronts. We have a 0, whatever. The center sets them up, and it's like a gallop, essentially, that you would use in gap scheme.
Right.
It comes down, knocks them over. The center rips the sink off the wall. We get vertical. So like I said, it's very free-flowing. If you're a play side tackle, you got a 5 technique, you're working the same thing. So you're a check step, to prevent the crossface, and then you're working angle out. Okay, you're trying to get your hips. All right, I tell my guys all the time, I want your hips angled to the sideline.
Right.
Okay, we're not position blocking, turning our butt in the hole, anything like that, but we're working what we call an angle drive. So I'm trying to get inside out on you with my helmet on the inside part of your neck and driving you to the sideline. Backside, okay, if we have a backside 3 technique, okay, the right guard, okay, all he's doing is he's checking with his left foot, attacking vertical, okay, backside tackle, okay, he can lose some ground depending on the leverage of the linebacker, okay. We use a thick-thin system at Barton, so to me, thick is anything head up to play side or head up to backside.
Right.
Thin, obviously, is anything head up to front side. Okay. And you hear me say head up both times because that's based on what the linebacker can do. You got a guy that can run. We have a very special linebacker at Barton where if he's lined up head up, we're thin every time because if not, we're never going to get to it. So
when you say thick and thin, I don't mean to interrupt you. You're talking about angle coming off on that linebacker, like
yes,
how long they're staying on the double.
Yes, sir. It's the duration of the double team. So if say we're running inside zone to the left and we have a 3 technique backside and say maybe a 50 back, my guards get down. He's like, hey, slip, 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 thick, thick, thick. And now that guard knows he can sit on that.
Right, because the angle's easier.
Yeah, he doesn't need to run off the ball. He can sit on that with his eyes tracking the backer. And the backer breaks the midpoint. He gets off, seals off the backer.
I like that.
If it's thin, okay, now he's looking at that tackle. Hey, thin, thin, thin. Now more than likely he's working the same footwork, but he's only given a punch. And that tackle's going to get on his horse at that point.
Yeah.
Because he knows that block is his.
So how do you determine I feel kind of selfish because like I just want to ask questions for me, but
go for it.
Do you have is it like always the play side guys making that decision as far as thick and thin, or does it matter?
I prefer the lead guy in the combo to make the call,
right? Okay.
Because he's the one more times than not that would be getting off to that linebacker.
Right.
I hate for the tackle to make a thick call, and is really a thin, and now the guard's
can't come
confused.
Yeah.
Because the second guy in the combo, it doesn't really matter what that backer's doing to him. He just needs to know I'm either going to have more help or less help.
Right.
The guard's the one that needs to know, hey, I've got to be able to get off to get to this backer, or hey, he's slow or slow playing. I can be heavy on this, help my tackle out. So usually the front side guy, the lead guy, whatever you want to call him in your offense, that's the guy who makes the call for us.
Right. That makes sense. I do like that to determine, like thick and thin, to determine how long that combo is going to work. Because I feel like a lot of the time we're coming off late or coming off too early,
Yeah,
so
if they don't communicate, then they don't know, right? They just
you do that too, Tatum?
Huh? No,
you do that too.
We don't, but it makes a lot of sense because, like,
we may start honestly.
Yeah, if they know, hey, I know, like you say, this is thick, I got time, or it's thin, I don't. now we're on the same page, and I know that we can communicate, we can execute this combo a little more.
And what it really does for us is when we get into meetings, practice, games, or it's real easy to communicate.
Right.
And say, hey, Coach Tatum, all right, you had a 3-tech and a backside 50. Why were you in such a rush?
Right.
Now, obviously, film, which I challenge my guys to watch film every single day. Look, every Thursday meeting in the season, I never disrespect my guys, embarrass them, but I challenge them. I'll go right in there at the end of the meeting, go to huddle, and go and sort by view time. And find out. And I tell them every week, if I can't trust you to watch 15, 20, 30 minutes of film a day, how can I trust you on Saturday?
Right.
So, first thing we'll do on Tuesday, because Monday we'll watch the game film from that Saturday. First thing we'll do Tuesday when we start looking at the other team, hey, what do you see about their linebackers? Are they fast flow? Are they shuffle downhill? Do they play tight to the box? Do they play off the box? Those are all base questions I'm asking. And then based off that, now they know, okay, if I'm getting fast flow linebackers, I'm going to think I'm going to be thinner more times than not. Right. If I think that they're going to be a shuffle, square read, everything like that, I can be thick. Our determining point for getting off to a linebacker is if he breaks the midpoint of the down line. So what do I mean by that? If we have a backside 3-tech and a 50 backer, the moment he crosses and stacks that 3-tech, that guard's got to get off. Now he's a threat. Or if that 50 backer is tight to the box, he breaks the heels of the 3-tech, or he's within a yard or two, we're going to be quick on that.
Right.
So, it's just a way for us to communicate. I've toyed with different things. I've heard some guys do the red light, yellow light, green light, and that's good stuff too. But it was too much communication and verbiage for us. So we just went with a thick, thin, communication on that stuff. So it's really helped us. And we use it on wide zone. We use it on inside zone, and it's universal. I try to do things that mirror what we're doing and not so much, we have terminology for inside zone, wide zone, right, power, counter, try to keep everything where they don't have to think.
Right.
Yeah. Rap, this hyped me up, man. This is O-line talk.
It makes me miss Coach right here.
Hey, man, and because what I love about that is kind of my just thinking about it. And if Rap and I make a call, hey, we're gonna work to this backer and we call thick, right? I got time. But if we've got so many reps at it, I know, at least I'm thinking about it, I would know if it's thick or thin based off how we're playing as well. Right. If it's make a thick call and then I see something and I need to come off that feels like a thin call. Now I got to go ahead and work over. And now it's almost, you don't have to verbalize it. Now we've gotten so many reps at it. It just happens naturally now.
Right.
I've got some guys that, when they're playing in the middle of a game, I'm watching the game. I'm like, okay, they should be making a thick call. And they go thin. I'm like, why'd you go thin? Well, coach, this 3 technique, we've been bullying him all day.
Right.
I don't need to just sit here and beat on him because the tackle's going to cut him off. And now I'm just trying to pry the gap open. So, I trust my guys to give me feedback. So we're always talking, just like everyone, we're always talking in between series. What are you seeing? What do you notice? How are they playing you? Are they rooting down? Are they trying to chase the play? Are they trying to backdoor the play? And it really helps us when it comes to getting our zone schemes going.
So when you work doubles, do you make a call for everything? And if so, does the call change based on linebacker alignment? So when I was a student assistant at ODU, we ran inside zone and outside zone. That was it. And for us, if we were running it to a shade and that stack linebacker was more in a 30 alignment versus, he may be a little bit tighter, that was 2 different calls for us. So one of the things when I started coaching high school, I felt like it was way too much. But honestly, after you explain the thick and thin, that kind of covers you to be able to call the same thing if you make calls, but everybody understands that, yes, we're still going to this guy, but it may be a punch and go, or we may be able to stay on it longer. That's good stuff. I really, really like that.
I am a firm believer you can never over communicate.
Right, no doubt.
I'll even have situations, Coach, where I'll get onto my tackles if they're not yelling solo.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want them. I don't want guys coming off the field saying, "Well, I don't know." So for us, our front side zone combos, we use single, double, triple. So with that 2-eye situation, like you were talking about, that's just a single thick or a single thin.
Right.
If we're running wide zone and the center can reach them, now it may just be the center will go solo, and now the guard and tackle are working a double or the 5 technique to that back. So we have different answers. If we play a 3 technique, the center is working a 2-step indicator to climb to his linebacker. If it's a shade, the guard is now working a 2-step indicator to the 5 technique to his backer. So those are all different calls that we use where, we're not having to reinvent the wheel. It's right. Simple stuff that the guys understand. We have answers if you want to slant and pinch and do things like that. And we'll, square drag and, do all that kind of stuff. So we have different things, and we call them color calls. And, without diving in and, boring the fans, so we believe in communicating, but we believe in effective communicating.
Right. Right. Yeah, I like that a lot. I'm going to tell my line coach about that right now.
So kind of switch gears to gap scheme, Coach. I guess you talked about Gallup. You're a Gallup guy?
Yes, sir.
Heck yeah. Let's talk a little Gallup, because I have a buddy that I work with at the middle school. He coaches at West Forsyth High School. He's a big Gallup guy. We'll just have great conversations about it. I've never been a Gallup guy, not because I don't like it, it's because I didn't grow up in it. So can you talk a little bit about your Gallup? And I assume you have a Crowther, and you're just awesome like that. So
yes, sir.
Talk a little bit of Gallup.
It's funny though that you were talking about gap scheme earlier and how your right side, that's our right side too. My right guard's he'll be a 4-year starter this year. When I say an offensive lineman, he is long hair, wears the elbow brace,
love it,
just nasty. My right tackle, can be a little deceptive. He's about 6'3.5", about 350, but might have the best feet that I've seen. But he is a physical, athletic human being. So every time we run gap scheme to that side, we get great movement. Yeah. But same footwork, same concepts in footwork. So my right guard, if we're running counter, power, whatever to him, he's going to pick it up, put it down, attack vertical. He's going to hold the guy up. I teach the right tackle to preload his back leg, push off. Okay, when he's pushing off, it's 1, 2, and I want whatever is exposed right here to be bruised up. Okay, we're not hitting with a hand. We are hitting with our shoulder, and we are trying to displace the 3 technique. Okay, so he's going to gallop through, displace the 3 technique, track to his backer. Okay, once again, his gallop can change based on the alignment of the linebacker. Okay, if it's a 3 tech and a backside 30 linebacker, okay, he knows he can be a little bit more on an angle, gallop through, and now create that wall in the gap scheme. If that guy starts to stack or cheat, he knows it's going to be more of a quick 1-2 boom and get back vertical. Okay, so once again, it changes based on the linebackers and how they play us. But yeah, we work on the sled. We have some drills that we'll do, just real simple. I have a guy hold a hand shield to give us a target, and then we have to make sure we're hitting that shield and getting displacement. And it's been really good for us. I've toyed with different things. I've toyed with, just telling your guy to run off the ball and run through the rib cage. Where we had problems was if that guy got skinny, if the 3 technique got skinny, or maybe the guard didn't get a great fit, now you're splitting the combo.
Right.
But with the gallop, it slows that tackle down enough to where now he's getting good, solid contact, and now the guard can just torque him into his gap. Some of our best runs this spring, our tackle came through. My tackles are really good about it, but they came through and rocked the 3 technique, and he's displaced from B gap all the way to A gap.
It's a good deal.
And now all of a sudden that thing parts like the Red Sea.
Right.
So,
I know. Go ahead, Coach. My bad.
Oh, you're fine. I honestly was never really a gallop guy until I watched, a couple clinics, watched Alabama do it, Texas do it. I'm like, well, I mean, if they can do it, I feel like we can do it. And it's been one of the best things we've done in our gap schemes, in the 2, almost 3 years I've been here.
I know we're talking run game tonight, Tatum, but can I ask a question that isn't run game related?
Can I ask you this about the double team, and then we'll get to that?
Okay, deal.
Okay, if you got real quick, do they have a call where the gap might be off if a guy walks down in that A gap? Like you have a 3 technique, and then you have a guy walk down into your guard's backside gap. Do they communicate like whatever? And now the gallop's not on. Now it's just 2 down blocks.
Yep.
Or is it just mindless?
Yep. We'll just come down, get set. First thing we do, and you'll see it on tape and games, you see my guys talking and pointing.
Yeah.
So if they see, that situation where that backside backer that they're working to walks down, the call's off. Now it's just, hey, down, 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 we're good.
Gotcha.
So we work that. We drill that every day when we're doing our gap scheme stuff. I kind of set my practices up different than some people. I have maybe 1 to 3 like everyday drills. I'm a firm believer if we were not good at something in practice the day before or in the game, that's what we need to drill. So if we struggled with gallops, I'm going to drill gallops until I feel comfortable with it. I'm not going to just say, well, today we're going to work inside zone, wide zone. I'm focusing on what we need to get better at day to day, week to week. So, one day it might be very much a gap focused day. One day it might be very zone focused. I always try to break up my practices, so we always do a zone and gap, principles when it comes to practice. And then we always do pass pro. But the zone drills might be different day to day, just based on what we need to get better at. It might be a thick period where it's just working thick combos. Then the next period might be thin combos. Then it might be, hey, working against twist and blitz. So, we kind of try to drill for every potential situation. You'll never see everything. Your defensive coordinators are good at what they do. They get paid as well. So, they'll scheme up some stuff that we haven't seen. But if I can try to get my guys to see majority of the stuff that we'll see, we can adjust on the fly for everything else.
Go ahead, Rap.
So I was going to ask you, and I don't know how much y'all run them. How do you teach screens with your offensive line?
Yeah, so we've dabbled in screens, of course, for one reason or another. But our base screens that we'll use, we'll use the old school halfback slip, and we haven't really dove too much into the tunnel screens,
right? Because I've never been a big screen guy either.
Yeah, we do have a tight end screen. If you ever get a chance to go pop on our game against Newberry last year, we hit it for, I think we're at the plus 15 going in, plus 12 going in, hit it, walked into the end zone.
Wow.
But our base screens, tackles, I'm a firm believer just keeping the tackles as neutral as possible, run up the field, run the D end up the field, front side guard. So say we're going screen to the right, we're all going to slide to the right, 1,001, 1,002, depending on the timing of the screen. Could be a 3 count. Okay, so guard's going to release flat, kick out the first thing he sees. Center is now wrapping. So if, say, the ball is going towards the numbers. We're kicking outside the hash. We're wrapping up the hash, and then the backside guard. I use the term he's the cleanup guy. So now he's just kind of wheeling back for anything that's chasing the ball, especially if it's one of those screens that the receiver's coming in,
right?
And ball gets developed and tossed to him. Maybe that 3 technique doesn't end up on the ground. He's going to make now your guard's there to kind of wall him off so we can get our foot in the ground. So, I said we're not huge on screens. We're trying to get better at them, but for the last couple of years, we've been really good at running the football, developing our play action and pass quick game and doing things like that. So screens have been here and there, have had success, but I wouldn't say it's a huge portion of our offense.
Right.
Coach, you also have the run coordinator tag. What does that entail? Like, especially at the high school level, we have a thought process, but at the college level, what does that entail for you, maybe above your normal duties for coaching offensive line?
Yeah, so my offensive coordinator, Landon Mariani, he'll come up to me and tell me week to week, how can we run our base runs? He'll say, find me X amount of formations or personnel groupings. How can we run, inside zone, wide zone, power count, whatever the runs are that we feel are our best runs. We'll go into camp with probably about 5 or 6 runs that we're like, we can run these against anybody. But my job week to week is saying, all right, maybe wide zone's not going to be as effective this week because their linebackers fast flow and they like to rock a safety to give them a +1. So how can we find ways to run it effectively? So that's really all a short answer. That's what it entails, is just finding week to week, how can we run our base runs without, recreating it or overcomplicating it. Because, we can sit there, everybody knows whoever's got the crayon last wins. So we can sit here and draw up 100 ways to run wide zone. But if we're not going to be able to get reps at it in practice, then it's not worth it. So it's like, how can we run it out of base formations, base personnel groupings? What could be a couple answers in case, we have some trouble? So that's really what it entails. Who's the guy that we can run at? Who should we try to, not run at? Who is their better linebacker? Who do we need to double team? Different things like that. Or, hey, do the DNs like to squeeze down on down blocks? Are they upfield? Do they wrong arm? Just kind of breaking down the front 7 and, find tendencies. Are they a heavy run blitz team on first and second down, and then on third down they just play base defense? Do they wait for you to get behind the sticks and then they light you up? Do they like to play a 6 technique versus a 7 versus a 9? That affects what kind of calls we may make in our offense. So, that's really it. It's nothing, it's nothing crazy or fancy. It's just, the stuff that we do anyway as offensive line coaches, and just finding ways to be successful in the run game. And it's a nice little thing to put on a resume.
There you go.
No doubt. What does your scouting look like? So when you go into a game and say, y'all, they're gonna play Newberry, right? What is your scouting, and how much information do you provide to the players, maybe it be on paper or in a meeting, about going into a game? Yeah,
so I'm a firm believer in giving them enough information for them to formulate their own opinions. Yeah, I got told this a long time ago. If you talk to your team as if they're playing the Dallas Cowboys, then some guys are going to fold under that pressure. So when I go, my scouting is very simplistic. All right, hey, their DNs, do they squeeze? Do they play wide? That's first thing, for counter, for different things like that. Okay, interior wise, who's the better guy? Who's the guy that likes to root down? Who's their guy that runs better? Are they better against zone than gap? Different things like that. Linebacker wise, what are their base alignments? Do they typically go 30-30? Do they go 30-50? Do they go 10-20? What are their base alignments? How do they play? Like we were talking about earlier, do they fast flow? Do they buzz and go downhill? Is it an old school, we call him a plug linebacker where he's just off the jump, he's thinking, I'm going downhill. Do their D-line, linemen, do they play in your chest, or do they try to backdoor? Do they try to run across your face? Does the defensive line stunt a lot? Do they tip off their stunts? That's really what I give the guys without talking. I won't say anything about names, where they're from, anything like that. But it's just more so like schematics of what we need to see day in and day out at practice. Hey, if they're going to be a team up front that they're going to just squat in the gap and they're not going to let you move them, well, that's going to be a week we're going to hit the sled just a little bit harder, and I'm going to be standing on the backup. Because we got to be able to move. We play some very, very talented defenses in the South Atlantic Conference. So, every week's different. Every week's a challenge. You might get a team like Newberry that has some really good athletes, or Lenore Ryan has some really good athletes, and then you might get Wingate, who has just a stout nose, stout three technique like they had a couple years ago. One of them went to Furman, one of them's at Georgia Southern. So, they got a strong interior presence. So we got to be more firm on our combos and let second level take care of second level. So that's really the gist of what I give my guys, each week.
Got a question here. We'll go ahead and expand to protection because we are O-line coaches. But Coach Shelton says best protection ideas for short yardage or lower red zone plays. What do y'all go into a short yardage? If you're going to pass the ball, I mean, I would run it. But if you're gonna pass the ball, just go into y'all's pass protections. Like, do y'all carry a half and a full and a sprint out, something like that? What do y'all carry?
So we're half man, half slide. I feel like that's pretty much everybody. But what we've had a lot of success with is full slide, 6-7 man protections. We have play actions off of our inside zone where our quarterback can come up and maybe it's an inside zone call, but we get a favorable matchup. Maybe they give us a one-on-one with our slot who might be a 4-4 guy, and he can make a certain call where now the offensive line shows inside zone, he pulls it, throws the ball. We have sprint outs off our, we have true sprint out. We have our play action off of our wide zone. We have, our power protection. We have a bunch of different protections. I don't know if we necessarily have one that we say, hey, it's 3rd and 3. We want to call this. Like you said, we're going to more times than not run the ball there. But if we did, our safe bets to go like 7-man protection, keep a tight end in, put the running back opposite, and just really protect it. Or we'll go a sprint out or a boot or whatever like that and let our quarterback either throw it or scramble and get that first down.
Yeah. So y'all are pulling guys on some of your protections?
Yeah, we started exploring that a little bit this spring. As you guys both know, it's not the cleanest protection. So it's stressful when you're
good watching. That's for sure.
Yeah, you're watching. You're like, dang, the post is wide open, but then that backer's just humming past your guard, and you're like, well, this isn't going to be good. So, it's definitely something that we're going to continue to explore. I don't, it won't be something that we're calling every game or something we're going to hang our hat on, but just to give people a change up in what we're doing.
Yeah, we were so just counter heavy one year. So we were like, all right, we're gonna do just play action. We're gonna pull guard and tackle. And we had an H-back fit and running back fit, where they're leaving. So we just want to give an illusion of pullers. And it was great to move those linebackers. But like you said, when it's good, it's great. But when it's not, you're picking your quarterback up, and you're like, well, we should just let this. So.
Because we give guys so many different looks in our run game. In counter, we'll run traditional GY. We'll pull the center instead of the guard sometimes. Like we have different variations of counter that we have explored and had success with. This last fall, this past spring, and going into this fall. So it makes it where as a defense you can't just hone in and be ready for that one thing, because we could run power protection and pull the guard one time, then run it again and pull the center one time. So you have to prepare for that stuff.
So my bad. Go ahead. When you run any of them that you're pulling, so let's say we're pulling and we're trying to make it look like counter, and you pull and you kick out the backside guard, the left guard, we'll say in this case, is the right side of your O line treating it like full slide back the other way?
So we have not ran it. Yeah, we did. We did run it off counter a couple times. So what we ended up doing was, depending on that front side defensive end, sometimes we'd have the tackle lock him, and have the guard pull and replace either inside or outside, wherever the gap was, or we take him down, to really sell the illusion of counter.
Right.
And then we may have the B, what we call our B back, our fullback, step up, and now the guard is inside. So when we do stuff like that, we're trying to really sell that the run portion of it. So we have different tags. We have 2 different tags that our quarterback will call out to the offensive line on those type of plays, where either he's getting outside the pocket or he's staying in the pocket, and that changes what we have. If he says he's getting outside the pocket, now the guard's getting out there thinking he's capturing the outside shoulder so the quarterback can get out of the pocket. If he says he's setting up in the pocket, that's more than likely where the tackle will base the end, and now the guard will go here, be outside of him, and now our running back will step up and replace the guard, and kind of be that extra guy to help the center.
Right.
But then if you get to that 3 back side, now we can send the guard or send the center, and the running back can step up and replace the center.
Yeah. Is that something that you work as far as pulling centers instead? A couple years ago at a school I was at, we had a kid that played center that was super athletic, and he could do it. So that way, if we, didn't call counter to the 3 like we like to, we called it to the 1. Now we can base block with the backside guard and kick with the center. But I just haven't had anybody since. I mean, I'm sure that's not something that you necessarily look for like as a recruiting piece, but how do you get to where you feel comfortable to be able to do that? Is it something that, you're messing with pre-practice just to see if it's possible, or, how does it work?
When I was in college, we had that was part of our offense. So when I was playing center, I pulled a fair amount.
Okay, yeah.
So it's always something I've enjoyed, I believed in.
It's so cool when you can do it, man. I love it.
Different people I've worked for have had different viewpoints on it. But, I sat down with our offensive coordinator, our head coach, going into the spring. I was like, hey, I'd really like to look at this. Like, it gives us something versus, we struggled sometimes last year asking our center to back block a 3 technique, especially when we're playing athletic 3s. So then our answer last year was we'd make a call where the tackle would almost shuffle down to hold the 3 until the center got there, and then he'd wheel back out. But what we started seeing was athletic 5 techniques were getting around that edge before we're ever able to get back. So I was like, well, let's start looking at pulling the center. And like I said, my guy that I had the last 2 years, great athlete, would have really done well at pulling. But we did it this spring and had a lot of success with it, because depending on what your linebackers read, they're taught to read guard, tap. Not many teams are teaching them to read centers.
No.
If you just get that center out of nowhere, sometimes we were catching the linebackers before they ever knew what was happening. So we'll work a pull drill every day when we're running our gap portion of practice. And I make all my guys pull.
Right.
Pull tackles, we'll run We might run GT. We might run pin and pull. We might run dart, different things like that. So the tackle's got to pull. Guard's got to pull. Center's got to pull. And with my guys, unless you're just a freak that's 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", whatever, where you're a tackle, my guards can be emergency tackles. My tackles can be guards. My guards, a couple of them can play center. So my thought process is you got to be able to do all of it. You got to be able to pull, because I may need you. The unfortunate side of college football, when you're on the road, you only get so many bodies.
Right.
So typically, I may have 8 or 9 offensive linemen to travel with. That's more than some people get, but just like that, you could be down to 4, 5, 6, whatever. So, I usually try to travel my starting 5. I at least try to travel 1 true tackle, 1 guy that can be a tackle, guard, tweener, and then a guy that can play either guard and center. So we work everything. We'll work every pull you can think of. So we'll start off, everyone's pulling and kicking out. And I'll line them up so the right side guys are on the left and the left side guys are on the right. You work your pulls and kickouts. Pulls and kickouts. We pull into the line and kick out. We pull into the line and kick out. You do everything we do drill work wise, just because our periods are constructed a certain way. You get usually 2 to 3 reps in a row, and then I rotate you out. So they'll do that, and we're full speed going through. Okay, then next you're working skip pull. Now everyone's skip pulling out. Okay, now we're working a square pull. Working the square pulls out. Okay, now hey, we're talking about running pin and pull. So I'll set someone up. Hey, you got to open up and you got to get around, 3 down blocks to get out there because you're the backside guard or tackle. So we drill that stuff every day. Because it is something that we're trying to do. And like I said, counter and power have gotten so much better for us each year. So, we can't not drill it. So yeah, we'll spend, and it'll be a 5-minute period. And each guy will get 6, 8, 10 reps of doing all the different pulls. And like I said, it's rapid.
So when listening to you talk, I think I know the answer, but when you teach your guys, like you say, you're these different types of pulls, especially like skip, shuffle, square, however you want to say it, whether it be 3 different types of pulls, are you saying, hey, use this one on this play, or are you giving them those tools to use on whatever play you're running? Like, hey, you can use a skip here, you can use a shuffle here, you can use whatever, or you tell them, hey, you need to use this pull on this play.
Yeah, I give them the parameters. So obviously if it's counter, it's old school, rip the lawnmower, all that stuff, pull, kick, pull right, hit right, all the cliches. But with the skip pull, I teach it based on the entry point. So if we're playing, let's say an odd front, and we're running power to the left, and we have a combo between the center left guard. Well, now I don't need to skip out at right guard pulling around. I can square and go because I'm only going over 1 gap. But now let's say we're playing an even front team and we've got a 3 technique over there to the left. Now I need to skip. I need to get off the ball because I'm going a further distance. So, it's more so, hey, here, let's practice square pull. Let's practice skip pull because, we may not know exactly which one we're going to use when that play's called. But you have the tools to sit there and say, well, coach said use this because it's a quicker entry point. Use this because it's a wider entry point. I need to be able to get going downhill. So, yeah, it's more of a flavor of the moment type situation.
Yeah, that's what we do. Like I don't want to put my guys in the box. Like especially at the high school level when you don't know if that guy can chew and walk down the street, chew bubblegum and walk down the street at the same time. So having him, skip pull might not be the best thing in the world, right? So like, hey, maybe you need to open and go, and because I don't feel like putting them in a box to be like, hey, you have to. I was taught to skip pull on power. You're gonna skip pull on power. Like he might not be able to do it. So 100%. Like yeah, give him the tools, and then hey, at the end of the day, go buy the play side linebacker.
Yeah, because what we deal with, being on the eastern part of the state, there's a lot. It's just a lot different offenses than what people on the western part of the state run.
I know how you feel there.
Lot of wing T, single wing, double wing. So like we get really good football players from those programs. I mean, I got a kid from a very strong 2A school at 6'7" playing tackle, but I'm gonna have to teach him how to play spread pro style type of schemes. Like it's not just roll up on your knuckles and down blocks, So that's why I believe in just giving guys freedom to do things as long as it's within the realm of what we do.
Right.
Because I'm a firm believer you're going to always revert back to what you are comfortable with. So if I just tell you that you can only skip pull, and then maybe throughout your entire high school career you were taught the square pull, and you're a freshman playing in your first collegiate game, and we call power, what are you going to do?
Right.
So, it's just eventually as they get older, they start kind of understanding everything. They understand the method to the madness, and they can start policing themselves and Coach, I should have skip pulled here. Should have square pulled here. Should have done this. Should have done that. Especially for these younger guys, I want them to have tools, but I don't give them the full tool belt until they show me that they can handle the basics. You're not going to get a power saw until you show me you can handle a hammer.
Yeah.
So,
how, and I know this wasn't like the design, but what are some things recruiting wise that you want to see on film from offensive linemen that you recruit?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, like everyone, I want a guy that's trying to finish plays, but I want you finishing plays the right way. The one thing that drives me up a wall is a guy that throws people.
Yeah.
Like if you're just grabbing defensive linemen and throwing them instead of running your feet, it makes my skin crawl.
Right, that's not a finish, right?
Yeah. So any high school kids that are watching this, high school coaches that are watching this, quit letting your guys throw people. But I'm looking for guys that can move. Everyone can run a down block.
Right.
Can you pull to second level? Do you have clips where you're getting the second level and you're running a linebacker? Or do you have plays where maybe you're running pin and pull and the tailback's behind you and you're leading him downfield? Do you have a base understanding of pass protection? Do you show any kicks in your film, or are you just straight like play action protection, sell the run, get hands on people, sit down? That's gonna change things. All right, if that's all you can do, you're probably not going to play tackle. You're probably going to be a guard. I'm looking for guys that just, if you could show me clips of you picking up a twist, I mean, that's huge. Like just showing things that are outside the norm of what a average offensive lineman can do.
Right.
Seeing a guy pass off a twist and work the second level, seeing a guy work a combination block and get the second level, finishing his block, and then on top of that, I want to see you have a little confidence. I don't want to see you, pancake a guy and then get up and start banging on your chest and doing all. I don't need all that. But like, I want to see when you get up that you're looking for more work. I want to see that you're over there, you're trying to help your running back up, your quarterback up, the receiver up. I want to see you finish plays. And finishing a play for me doesn't mean you have to put a guy on the ground. It means that when the play's ending, you're finishing in a dominant position, hands on another defender. If you're turning around watching the play or looking for something on your tape, that's not a good sign. So, then obviously there's the measurables. I know that's a controversial subject for some high school coaches, but at the end of the day, I always like to say, like, if you wouldn't play with a 5'7", 5'8" offensive lineman, why am I the bad guy if I don't want to play with that same 5'7", 5'8" offensive lineman? Like,
you're exactly right.
Obviously, like, size doesn't always matter. Some guys are just, my center I was talking about 5'11". But if you're 5, you better be special.
Yeah.
Like, so that's why I was talking about our recruiting class earlier. The shortest guy having this recruiting class is like 5'11", 6 foot. And now everyone else is 6'3" and taller.
Yeah.
So, part of it's looking the part too. When you get off the bus and you look like a college offensive line, and you can take up space and do those things, it helps. So, just measurables, aggressiveness, ability to move. I don't want to see someone look stiff. Do you lean? Are you a grabber? Do you punch? It's just a bunch of different things. And then it comes with feel too. I can turn on a tape and, within the first like 3-4 plays, if I feel something that pulls me to your tape, I'm going to keep watching it. If after the first 4, 5, 6 plays, I'm just like, I'm probably going to end up, watching a couple more and then turning it off. And that's for every position. That's a lot of recruiting. I don't want to speak for other programs. That's how a lot of it's done. If your tape doesn't pop, we don't need to see the fancy animations. Got that dog in me.
Yeah.
Need to see all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
The biggest thing I'd say for any high school or whatever high school coach is make sure that your guys' information on their huddle is correct. Make sure their height weights are done right. Make sure that their GPAs, if you can't put them on there, are put on there. The worst things when I turn on a tape for an offensive lineman and it says 6 and it has a bunch of random symbols and you don't know, are they 6 foot? Are they 6'3"? Are they 6'1"? Try to incorporate your social media. If you have Twitter, list your Twitter either in the film or in your huddle. List your best 40 times, your bench, all that stuff. Now, don't go crazy. We've recruited kids from everywhere that, the kid says they run a 4.44 and then, pop on that tape and it's like, that's not 4.4.
Right.
Oh, you say you bench press 410 pounds, but you're 225, 230, and you are getting held up by this guy or done this. So just make sure that all that stuff's accurate. Make sure that, you're watching what you're posting on social media. We go and check that stuff. I do it. I did an exercise with my guys. I'm like, hey, if I pulled up your Twitters right now and went to your likes page, what would I find? And, you get some guys like, oh, man. But we do that, because Coach Hester, who's our head coach, is a very, very, very devout Christian. And
he's a great guy too. He's been to our school a couple of times.
Amazing guy. I mean, one of the best people I've ever met. But he has certain things he believes in. Faith, family, football. That's what we believe in. We pray after every practice. We pray before every game. We pray after every game. It's not just him saying it to bring recruits and get families excited. He lives it. He goes to church every Sunday, puts in our team group chat. If anyone wants to go to church with me, let me know. We had a couple guys get baptized back in May, and he was there. Jacket, tie, everything, sitting in the front row. So we're not going to take a guy that's out here liking provocative pictures or talking about, illegal substances or this or that, like things that are just red flags. And it's not a true determining characteristic of a young man. Everyone was young and dumb at some point, but in today's generation of social media, like, what is going to be seen and what's not going to be seen. That we can see that picture that you liked or that video you liked or that thing you shared. So, like Coach Hester's not. I have never heard that man cuss, do anything. So he's not going to take a guy that's what his social media is riddled with.
Right.
So I know that was a long answer for recruiting, but that's how our process is. We take our time, do our research. We talk to head coaches. We talk to position coaches. We see kids in school. We bring them to campus. We're not a school that's just going to throw out an offer, just throw it out. If we offer a young man, it's because we want them to be a part of our program. If we offer you, it's a committable offer. and every circumstance is different. So it's not a one size fits all, but, you won't see us offering 100 kids in May.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't do anything, if one, they can't get accepted, or, if they decide they want to commit, and then it's like, well, that kid actually is not what we're looking for.
Right.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you going into that.
Absolutely.
A lot of guys don't get that insight from a college guy, so they kind of hear like their head coach kind of tells them like, "Oh, this is how it works." So that's really, really good, and I appreciate everything you've done tonight. Talking about y'all's run game and how you do things, because I've learned something. I know Rap did. 100%. Something I'm gonna think about and try to implement. But to wrap it up, we always do like a question of the week, and it's kind of usually has nothing to do with football. It's kind of just fun. It's my week, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I was talking to my wife, and she's watching right now, so she's probably like, "Oh Lord." We're talking to my wife and about the question, and basically, if you won the lottery, what's your first purchase? Now you can do what?
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I thought it was my week, and you know what my question was?
What?
If I gave you $1 million, what was the first thing you were gonna buy?
Wow.
Well, right here, Coach. Right here.
Yeah, right. Hey, you and me, the Ians are at it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah, if you won the lottery, you could do one personal, and then like what's the first thing personal you would buy, and then like what's something like, I don't know, like fun, like I don't know, like just out of the world, like what you would purchase. So give y'all a second to think about it. I'll go ahead and just go where I could think.
Where's the lottery at right now? Where are we looking? A couple million, we'll say.
Which one are we talking about? Are we talking about the one from like last summer that was like over $1 billion? Are we talking about like?
We'll say that.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna be all right. You got some money. Yeah.
Before I get to my answer, I did joke with Coach Hester about that last year. I was like, Coach, I'm going to tell you, if I won $1 billion, I'm out. like I'll go start my own private school or something and go like, but I'm gonna go have a lot of land and just buy a bunch of dogs for my fiance, soon to be wife, to go and have a dog farm. So
yeah. I guess for me, and I was thinking about it personal, like I would renovate our house, like have somebody do it and just make it, because this is a great house. It's second story. Like I don't need to go buy another house. I got the money for it, wouldn't matter. But yeah, I would really go ahead and renovate the house, have somebody professionally do it. And I said like a fun one. It's like when I'm a head coach, have anything that I wanted in the program, like turf field, every piece of equipment, field house that is
you don't have to fundraise.
You don't have to fundraise. You are the fundraiser.
I got you.
Yeah.
Any uniforms this year? No problem.
You're not gonna get fired, like, because you're gonna fund the whole schools. Like they're gonna change. It's gonna be Tatum High School. Like it's
right.
Yeah. So 100%. Like my program will be taken care of. Like if kids have anything they wanted, that's pretty much how I would do it. And then obviously I would have the most elaborate, vacations in the wintertime once football's over. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would definitely want to keep coaching. Yeah. As far as the teaching aspect is concerned, part of me, honestly, I'm worried about if I had that much money and I didn't necessarily have to rely on my job to fuel my family. I think I would, accidentally say some things that I probably shouldn't. So I don't know how long I'd have a job for anyway. But yeah, I think I'd definitely keep coaching, but I'd go land and build a house on it. And then something like fun, dude, I don't even know. I'd probably buy a couple boats, one to fish off of, like a bass boat type deal. One like inshore boat, one offshore boat. Why not, right?
Might as well.
And then, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything. Obviously, it would change if you got that much money where you don't have to worry about anything. But
Yeah.
I don't know if like other than like dream house, not even necessarily size wise, but like everything that you want in it, all that stuff. I don't know if I would really go into a whole lot of like items. It would definitely be cool to be able to say like, hey, like we want this for football. Like, we're gonna add an addition to the field house, put a weight room over there, and I'll take care of all of it. Don't worry. That'd be good.
Yeah, because my thing is like, I don't need a huge house. Like I don't need 4 houses. Like I don't need like to live in Bora Bora. I'm like I'll experience those things. I'm gonna go. Like I'll be there. I'll experience everything around the world. But I don't need to do that 24/7. That's me. What about you, Coach?
For me too, I've always wanted, and I don't know how much money it costs. I've always wanted to start like some kind of nonprofit foundation for kids.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't know if that costs $1 billion or anywhere close to it, or if I would have to have that much money to be able to do it. But that'd be really cool.
What about you, Coach?
I think the first thing I'd do is I'd buy some land, build me and my fiance a house, however she wants it. And then then I would I'd buy my parents. I do the same thing for my parents, and then do the same thing for her parents, and that way everyone has something just to express the gratitude for both families for getting us to that point. Then I think I would probably still work, but I definitely wouldn't stress out. I would probably build, go buy a building and like run just offensive line training and camps and do that and just travel the country, helping out high schools and like, hey, you need someone to coach your line for a week and do all that stuff. But then the I guess crazy thing, I would take some money and invest in a pro franchise, whether it be an NFL team, stuff like that. And just like, I don't need a lot, if I own 2%, I own 2%, whatever. But just sit there and be like, oh yeah, like I own part of the Carolina Panthers, or I own part of the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's like, just show up to games and have fun, have a box, do all that stuff, like, wear a suit and tie, like just flying on a jet or something, like I might as well spend it, put money away, obviously, so my kids don't struggle. Go ahead and pay off their college before they ever go to college. But yeah, I'm definitely, I'm 28, soon to be 29. I'm definitely going to do some reckless things in a positive way. Like I'm going to enjoy travel, but not flying, Delta. Like I'm hopping on a jet going where I want to go, or like, I'm not sitting on a boat with 20 other people. I'm getting my own boat, like doing things like that. Definitely getting a truck, because at that point gas would not be relevant. Because if I have to drop 120, I drop 120. So. But yeah, I wouldn't do anything crazy like, I'm gonna go buy 6 houses, 8 boats, 4 trucks, 2 Lambos. Like, no, I don't need all that. Just need a nice house that I can raise my kids in. That my soon-to-be wife doesn't, hate. She's told me a million times. She's like, if we won the lottery, I don't want some giant house. I'm like, why? She's like, because that's more house I have to clean. So
that's what they all say.
You could also have somebody clean the house for you.
Yeah, so I'm like, we could have. She's like, no, they won't clean it how I like it. So I was like, fair enough. I'd have a lot of land and let her start her dog sanctuary, and instead of dogs going off to shelters and all that stuff, they could just come there and live out their life and get fed and run around on acres of land and come in and sleep at night in the big barn and go back out and do it again. So,
what dogs do you have? Dogs currently?
2 dogs. So we have 1 dog. He's 4.5. He's a little bit of everything. He's my fiance's dog. He's think Chow Pit, Belgian Malinois, something else. But and then I just got a dog. I think he's a pit border collie mix. He's about 14, 15 weeks old.
Wow.
Gray, big old ears, got 2 different color eyes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we got 2 dogs, and they're a handful. They play all the time, but
Yeah. Love it. Well, Coach Rap, you got anything else for Coach before we get up out of here?
No, I appreciate you coming on. It was really cool to learn. I feel like college coaches, especially O-line, in my opinion, the teaching cues that y'all have for little detail stuff, whether it be a double team or the thick and thin thing like you were talking about, the detail that you can coach stuff with just a short amount of words, I guess is the best way to put it. In my opinion, is obviously what separates high school coaches and college coaches. But it's always great to hear how people say different things, because we all have situations where we may be explaining something to one kid and he understands it, then the other kid next to him or whatever obviously doesn't. So it's definitely cool to hear that. And I think, the point that you made about communication is also something that I don't know. Obviously, more of a spread team like we are too. It requires more communication, but the way that y'all communicate, I think, would be something that is easily transferred to what we do also. So I appreciate you giving us all that information.
because look, at the end of the day, I will never claim to be, the smartest guy in a room. There's always someone that knows more football than me, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, I get my guys to play for me. They love me. I love them. We work well together. And at the end of the day, if that means I'm not the next who insert name because I don't have all the answers to every question, then so be it. The greatest coaching moment I've had to this point. I know it's off topic. The young man I talked about a couple minutes ago that could reach 3 techniques, stuff like that. He just got married 2-3 weeks ago and invited me to his wedding. Like, to me, that moment will be better than any championship, any accolade that I could receive. Just seeing that I made enough of an impact in someone's life that on their most special day they thought about inviting me. So like I said, at the end of the day, you may get up on the whiteboard and be able to outdraw me and do things like that, or talk better football than me. But, at the end of the day, I get my guys to play and, play hard, and we'll live with the results at the end. So I've met plenty of high school coaches that have taught me so many things. And, all I want to do is just whatever I can teach people and help people with, I want to do. Because, I think just like everything, there's really good people in our profession that do things the right way and spread the word like you guys do about how football should be done and building the community. And then there's people that just aren't in it for the right reasons. So I really appreciate you guys and what you guys do, and having me on. And it hasn't felt like we've been on here for almost an hour and 20 minutes.
Right, that's how it happens every week.
Yeah,
we've had really good conversations, and like I said, anytime you guys need me back on or want me back on, I'll gladly get back on, and we can pick some more topics to talk about. So,
heck yeah. Look, like I said, it's really, really great you come on, and I really appreciate it a lot, because we were talking about, hey, what are we going to talk about? And we were kind of going through some things, and I was like, what about a guest? And then I was going through contacts, and I was like, let's get Coach CAIN on, man. Let's talk a little run game. So
I'm not big time like Tatum. I don't have contacts like he does.
Well, for anyone that wants, now I'm sorry because I'm awful at remembering my my Twitter handle. But anyone that wants to follow me, get in touch. My Twitter is at coach with a capital C _CAIN, like my last name, and then OL. So follow me. I'm pretty active on Twitter, so I'll follow back. Shoot me a message. We can talk ball. We can set up Zooms, things like that. Just please be forgiving that, I don't have unlimited free time as far as, my days coincide with everyone else's, just like vice versa. So, if it's just a phone call, if it's just some text, whatever, I gladly will help however I can for young coaches, older coaches, anyone just wants to learn. So, and I want to do the same. So, yeah.
Heck yeah. All right, guys. Coach Rapp, hit him with the outro.
Coaches, this is episode 17 of the Counterculture Podcast. Appreciate y'all joining us. Coach CAIN, thank you again for your time. We enjoyed it. It was great to listen to you talk about run game. Like I said, I know we learned some stuff. Hopefully everybody watching did as well. But signing off, episode 17. Keep coaching for the right reasons. Keep doing it for the kids. Keep learning. And we will see y'all next week.
See y'all.